Greetings and salutations. I'm yours truly, Dr. Dorn, InDaHouseMedia and Apex Museum TV, Voices of Influence. Today we have with us a filmmaker, Dr. Letitia Jackson. Tell us a little bit about your story and how you came into the filmmaking. And
well, thank you for having me. I am Dr. Jackson, Letitia Scott Jackson, and the title of my film is Gangster to Grace, and I decided to produce this short film, which is going to eventually be a series, so that we can share with people all over the world some things about redemption. You know, a lot of times we don't feel like we can be redeemed, but we can by grace. Okay. So the name of my film is Gangster to Grace, because without God's grace, I wouldn't be sitting here today.
Okay. Yeah, you were telling me a little bit about your background, and I found that very interesting. Elaborate a little bit on that.
Well, I was the preacher's daughter, of course, PK kid. My dad was an African Methodist Episcopal pastor, okay. AME. That's the acronym for that, right? And so he was a strict pastor. But I didn't like the fact that he was a broke pastor. You know, I was like, why are the preachers always broke? And the church members always had to pay our bills. I just didn't like that. And so at the age of 16, I became a drug dealer. The musician for the church, the drug dealer, straight A student, basketball player, honor roll student. And when my dad would go to sleep at night, I would climb out the window and sell drugs. Wow. And before he wake up in the morning, I'd be back in that window.
Back with the
like
money?
I'm asleep, like I never left.
With the money?
With the money. Okay. Every time, yes.
Okay.
And so that led me to a life of just being disobedient and trying to be sneaky. And I think I told you when I was born, he named me Chucky. He wanted me to be a boy. But unfortunately, / fortunately for him, I was a girl. Okay. But he still called me Chucky. So I tell him all the time, you got to be careful what you name your kids, because he probably shouldn't have named me that. He probably should have named me that. But I sold drugs from the age of 16 till 19 before I actually went to prison. My dad, I got busted with 3 kilos of cocaine in his house, and he took the charge thinking he was going to get probation. And they gave him 15 years in prison. And so my mom, she you know, went to visit him and supported him for like the first year and a half or whatever. And then she divorced him. She said, you love Chuck more than you love me. And she married the deacon in the church. Okay. So that was not, I knew it hurt him, but it really hurt me too, because I really thought he was going to get probation too. I actually went back and tried to take my charge, but the judge was like, you're a menace to society. You just going to, you know, we'll get you when we get you. And actually, 1 year and a half later, I was secret indicted by the feds. Okay. And so I ended up going to prison anyways. Okay.
So at what point in your life did the change come about?
Because my mom died after I was sentenced for my charge, for the second charge. I had to do a 6 months boot camp program in federal prison, because they actually were going to give me 13 years. And in order to cut the 13 years, you have to do the boot camp, which was worse than military boot camp. Chopping trees in the Sam Houston forest, snakes crawling across your feet. You can't kill them because you're on government property. You get another charge. And so it was like me thinking I was a gangster and going through all of that. I was like, oh, no way, I'm not doing this no more. But at the end of my boot camp sentence, my mom died before I got out of prison. So that really broke my heart at the age of 42. And she never got to see me change. Then my dad got out. He died 4 years after he was out. Then my only son died. My grandmother died. So God allowed everyone to die that he knew I could lean on, because had they not died, I've never had a job in my life. Never took a drink, never took drugs, never done any of that. But he removed everybody that he knew I could depend on, because I'm like, okay, if I sell drugs and I go to prison, my mama can watch my children, or my dad. Now he's out. He always saw no wrong in me, so he was always there for me. So God just removed all of my leaning posts, all of the people I could depend on, to show me that you don't have nobody now. And I don't. I mean, thank God I have God's grace, and now I have an amazing husband, and I have 4 daughters. But had they not passed away, I probably would have went right back to selling cocaine.
Back to town. So you have this movie, Gangsters
Gangster
Grace.
to Grace.
Okay, how did that come about?
Because I wanted people to see my story, because it's life changing. Because a lot of times when we see these gangster stories, or you watch certain stories or certain series, their end results are always negative. 90% of the movies I've watched with my story that's similar, the ending results have always been negative. But listen to me. I go back to prison in 2011 for something I didn't do, being wrongfully convicted by the federal government. Right after my only son was killed, God showed me 3 days in a row he was going to die, and I wouldn't receive it. So he died while I'm sitting in church on the piano. Like, it literally took me out of here. And so I wanted to share my story because I've been pondering it, and every time people talk to me, they say, you need to write a movie. And then they say, oh, you need a series because you've had so many things happen in your life. But to show people that we always have another chance. If you have breath in your body and you're still alive, God has granted you with another chance. And so God has given me so much grace to be able to be where I am today, to go through what I went through and to come back from that, to be a God-made millionaire and give back, because now I provide luxury prison trips all over the state of Texas and some Louisiana for kids and families that have incarcerated loved ones. I provide free mentorship for them to show them business entrepreneurship, that their name is more important than silver and gold, and just making sure these people can get out of poverty. So God has just blessed me to use my gift to do those things. So the movie shows a story of redemption, a story of true love, because they say it's nothing like a mother's love. To me, I said it was nothing like my daddy's love, because even when I got secret indicted the second time, he wrote the judge and said, give her the time you're going to give me. And also, when he read it in the paper, he had a stroke because he didn't know I had went to prison, had got arrested, and it paralyzed the whole left side of his body. So my story is true. I say I'm real and rare, and I just want people to see that we can go through things, but as long as we're still alive, we can come back from it. And you don't have to stay where you are, because I always thought I've been homeless, broke, busted, disgusted, federal prison twice, and now to be where I am, part owner of 7 emergency rooms, full-time housekeeper, full-time stylist, and I'm one of them, and still playing for the little old Baptist church, getting a little $200 a week, but I'm one of the most humble people you can ever meet, and I don't flaunt it. I just show people that God did for me, not if he could do it, but everything I wanted when I was a drug dealer, I never could get it. Because something the devil tricked me, and now everything that I wanted, I have it. With the exception of the movie. And with the exception of having my parents alive and my son alive. And I don't want to get emotional, but with the exception of having them alive, to see God's good works and his grace. So that's why I came up with Gangster to Grace, and that's why I came up with that name. So
that's the message you want people to take from your film?
Yes. That God is so faithful, and his grace and his mercy lasts forever. People, I think it's a scripture that says God's anger is temporary, but when he gives you favor, it's forever.
It's forever.
And the name of my book is Grace and Favor from Prison to Paid, but I just took it and flipped the script on it with the movie and said I'm going to do Gangster to Grace, because I was definitely a gangster at night and an angel by day. But my nickname is Chucky, but I still don't play now. I don't play, but I'm serious about life and serious about my assignment. I speak in all the prisons for free. I'm on all the prison podcasts in Louisiana and Texas, showing people that you don't have to stay where you are. Poverty is a mindset. Settling is a mindset. Accepting whatever is a mindset. So if we change the trajectory of our mindset, you can go 4 years with no motion. And on that 5th year, God will spin the block for you.
All right.
So thank you so much.
All right, folks, there you have it. From Gangster to Grace, Dr. Letitia Jackson. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Okay.